I want you to think about the purest form of gaming that you can. Is it Pong, Super Mario Brothers, Solitaire? What if I told you the purest form of video games was released on September 9th, 2019 for the PC by Cyberkex, the deceptively titled Hentai Arena Holy Pussy. You might assume that this is like any number of hentai games available on Steam thanks to their relaxation of policies surrounding adult games in recent years. But no. This might have become a meme in many corners of the internet in the last 4 years since its release, but truly, only one half of this title even appears in the game. Contrary to its advertising and title, the game perhaps ought to be called Holy Arena, because there's no hentai, and there's no While the majority of Cyberkex's catalog, which spans, as of this writing, an almost nice 68 titles, is constituted primarily by the slide puzzle hentai games we've all come to know and love, I assume, I argue today that HAHP is the purest form of gaming to ever be released. The Steam game description is straightforward and tells you basically everything you need to know about the experience. In your hands is power. Protect your kingdom from a horde of monsters. You are the queen of Bikini. Save your kingdom from monsters. You have 4 types of weapons: pistol, Thompson, AK-74, FN Scar. Monsters appear every 1 second. The delay between the waves is 5 seconds. There are 5 types of monsters, each of them is different in appearance and its own characteristics. Your goal is to kill as many monsters as possible. Within the game, you have a small number of ways to interact with our unnamed holy heroine. You can walk, run, jump, shoot, and lob grenades. As you defeat these little angel demon creatures, you earn money which can then be spent on higher powered guns. What's more, opening the shop menu does not actually pause the game, a hallmark of many ultra tough, get good Souls-likes of the past decade or so. While there is admittedly a learning curve to manipulating your player character and the camera, that curve is relatively shallow. In words immemorial about the game of kings, chess, Hentai Arena is a game which is simple to learn, but difficult to master. The Steam reviews for the game are split solidly down the middle, with an average score of mixed. Detractors call out what they see as flaws in the fabric of Hentai Arena's very being. Oof, no lewds or scenes, which is a big disappointment given that the game has hentai in the title. Feels a tiny bit like fake advertising, especially when it's listed as having sexual content. You just stand in an arena with janky combat controls shooting ghosts until you get overwhelmed by them. I would skip this unless you like anticlimactic games where you spend 99% of your playtime kiting things in a circle with a gun. Sorry, friends. Positive reviews, meanwhile, are typically tongue-in-cheek, declaring things like, "Holy crapa, my balls popped." Others go even further to exclaim, "I cannot. The sheer emotional impact this game has had on me. I weep, for I will never experience a game like this again. Hentai Arena, holy heart, is truly a masterpiece. And to any man who says otherwise, I simply ask, what is life if not a Hentai Arena? Parenthetical, holy heart. But few reviews really get to the heart of this game's simple but effective formula, in my opinion. You do have a few reviews like, yes, and others like, I like this game, or it's alright, I guess. These last 3 eschew the irony posting of many of the reviews with smaller numbers of hours in the game. They've achieved what I would argue is the Zen of Hentai Arena Holy Pussy. These individuals have moved past the need for anime titties. They've moved past the desire for complex mechanics with 1,000 moving parts and a dozen or more stats to grind over time. They've invested these amounts of time into HAHP with the understanding that every time you start the game, you're starting fresh. Your progress is reset, and you have to, in a single go, build yourself back up from 0 to 100. This might seem like something that might attract speedrunners or masochists, but in its truest sense, isn't this how the games of old, like chess, are still played? You sit down and you play one session, the outcome of which is determined between you and your opponent's butts hitting the seats and leaving them again. Only here, your opponent isn't another human across the chessboard. It's not even a supercomputer that learns to defeat humans at one of the most respected games in recorded history. Your opponent is any combination of the 5 enemy types listed in that Steam description. Or, perhaps more importantly, that enemy is yourself. Of the estimated 5,208 units sold, again, as of this writing, this makes only 4 reviewers writing with 70 or more hours in the game. Of course, this makes me wonder how many others have achieved this statistic, but go without recognition due to their not penning reviews. And as an aside here, I want to talk to these people. If you're someone who has this many hours in this game and you can verify that number, please let me interview you. I have a profound appreciation for this game, but it's not something on that level. At least, not yet. What I mean when I say that yourself is your real enemy in this game really applies twofold. You're doing combat with yourself because you have to grapple with having even bought and decided to play this game in the first place. You have to become comfortable with that reality before you can truly dedicate yourself to the pursuit of glory here. Secondly, you're competing with yourself to stay in the game. You see these folks on the leaderboard here? They didn't just commit themselves to the pursuit, but they stuck with it. That's the important thing. There is no glory, no guts, no community that I know of egging one another on to continue playing. The only thing keeping you going and striving for that high score is you. There's plenty of arguments that can be made in favor of multiplayer games being the heart of video games. Getting a group of people together to play at a house tournament of Smash, or a LAN party for StarCraft, or Jesus Christ, my age is showing, isn't it? Hopping into a lobby online where you end up paired with dozens or hundreds of others from around the globe, I mean, that's awesome, right? And multiplayer has always been a component of video games, going all the way back to the beginning, before video games were codified as a known quantity, or, a proper medium. I would argue, on the other hand, that this game represents the purest form of the other side of gaming, the single-player experience. That thing that publishers tried to convince us no one wanted over the course of the 2010s because they were intent on turning everything into at least a multiplayer experience, if not a live service. Single-player games have more or less always been the other core of the gaming experience, with many games operating on both cores as long as home game consoles have existed. You could play Super Mario Bros. As a single person with one controller, or you could hook up a second and swap back and forth with someone else, or use this method to effectively get twice the lives as a single player. A lot of gaming today is centered on public spectacle. Speedrunning streamers, competitive esports players, casual battle royale lobbies stuffed with thousands of concurrent players. And this isn't to say that single-player experiences have completely dried up. Even if many larger publishers tend to shy away from them nowadays, there are plenty of indie devs who have stepped in and filled that void. So, while it would be absurd to say that Hentai Arena came out of nowhere and restored the single-player experience to its former glory or some similar such nonsense, I find it absolutely fascinating how it and its player base represent a very specific element of gaming. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day whether Hentai Arena Holy Pussy is a good game or a bad game. It's perpetually on sale for like 50 cents, and it only cost $1 in the first place. Anyone over 18 with a Steam account can give it a shot for themselves at very little risk, let's be honest. Many have tried the game, and for the majority of players it would appear that they drop it after playing for a short time. Enough to know that the game's jank doesn't correspond with the kind of jank that they like. But some people find something in this game that all of the rest of us are ignoring. They're not here to gain fame or notoriety. Their names are plastered on a leaderboard that relatively few will see, and which almost all who do will simply gloss over. Hundreds or thousands of hours is a lot of time to sink into an ironic gesture or a shitpost. And yet there are people here who are dedicating literal weeks of time to this game. So it doesn't matter what I think of Hentai Arena Holy Pussy. I respect it from the various angles you can look at it. A bait and switch cash grab, a shitpost that somehow wormed itself into the meme algorithm of the internet, or a genuine attempt at making something different from this developer's typical fare. I may have only collectively put in a few hours into this game, likely still above average, but not much. But I've seen enough to know that I will, in all likelihood, never reach these esoteric heights. But if you give it a shot for yourself, you'll know how you feel. Hentai Arena Holy Pussy is the meme Rorschach test of gaming. Probably you'll play a few rounds and refund it, let's just be honest. But maybe, just maybe, you'll find that you're among the chosen few who hear the siren call of the Holy Pussy, and you might find yourself getting thousands of hours of entertainment from one of the cheapest games you will ever buy. For anybody who doesn't know, this was promised as the 1,000 subscriber special all the way back in January of 2023. I apologize for the delayed upload of it. Life has been crazy. I want to show my appreciation for everybody who supported this channel over the past year. This has truly been crazy experience for me, both in terms of being an outlet for my music and my furry bullshit and just my general bullshit. So, hey, if you like this type of bullshit, then drop a subscribe, like it, dislike it, comment, share it, I don't know, all the things. And I don't know, let's say we hit 10,000, I'll do a longer review of Hentai Arena Holy Pussy. Like, I will do a deep dive on this game if you can get us to 10,000 subscribers. And while you're already here, if you want to check out some of my other stuff, probably somewhere around here, I'm going to be posting something. Anyway, you're beautiful. Have a great day. Thank you. Bye.